Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS, Paul here, and as you can probably tell, I don't have my regular camera setup thing going. I'm still kind of working on some things, so you'll have to forgive me. This video won't really have any editing or anything like that, so I know a lot of people usually like card images, but I can't have that in this video since I'm in a bit of a rush. I knew the duty called, so I just wanted to get something out for you guys. This is 10 budget deck ideas for April 2017. This is something I kind of do every couple of months. You've probably already known if you've been following the channel. And this time I'm actually pretty excited because there are some new picks on this list that aren't just kind of me repeating the same old thing. So, first one is Hunders. So the reason I actually mention this is because of Duelist Saga, which released Bro Hunder. For those who don't know, the Hunder deck, just as it is a deck with a bunch of level 4 light monsters, and they just summon each other from the hand. So like Ma Hunder and Pa Hunder have effectively the same ability to just summon other like Hunders from the hand. Sis Hunder can recycle Thunder type monsters, and the new Bro Hunder card can search any level 4 Thunder monster from your deck to your hand, which is actually huge because in addition to searching all of the Hunders, it can actually search cards like Thunder King Ryo, Denko Sekka, Thunder Seahorse, and Thunder Seahorse was already a really powerful, potent card in the deck. So just with Bro Hunder being here and being pretty easy to get, you know, Duelist Saga cards are fairly cheap. It means that the Hunder deck is actually a totally viable thing. It makes for a really good rank 4 engine, and you can actually like make it sort of a synchro variant instead. If you want to do that, you can use like Violon Sigma, and you can also incorporate Batteryman if you want. Watts, that's a good one. There's actually an article on TTG Player about like running Watts and Hunders is recently made, so I might have to link that if I remember to put it in the description. And the next deck is Sharks or Fish or kind of whatever you want to call it. The reason why I put this in here is also because of Duelist Saga, where we got just a lot of new level 4 like water support monsters. I think of like Shaven Angler and there's another one like Double Fin Shark and stuff like that. All those monsters have really valuable effects that basically let them just recycle water monsters, and you can use them with Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth. This was actually already an existing deck, but what makes it better now is that you actually have water monsters that have like recursion and can summon themselves from the hand. And now we've got things like Bahamut Shark, which can summon totally awesome. And what you'll notice about a lot of the water monsters that come in Duelist Saga is that they tend to have that clause where it's like you can't special summon for the rest of the turn except water monsters, but that's fine because Bahamut Shark can totally awesome completely fit that bill. So yeah, the basic idea with the deck is just use Super Ancient Deep Sea King, get him out somehow. There are lots of ways. Pitch a card from your hand and summon as many fish from your deck as possible, and then you turn all the fish into Bahamut Sharks, and then you turn both Bahamut Sharks or use their effects to make 2 totally awesomes. You can see where this is going. Really crazy. The next one is some products that are coming up basically in the next couple of days, is Ancient Gears. The Ancient Gear structure deck is coming out, and I guess I might as well include dinosaurs along with it, so as your next 2. Ancient Gears, if you've been an Ancient Gear fan like Alec has, you'll be really excited about this deck. I've been reading a lot of the new Ancient Gear support, and it's honestly really strong. They've really done a good job of correcting some of the old weaknesses of the Ancient Gear monsters. And that new Ancient Gear Castle or Fortress, I forget the name of it, it's the field spell, I think, makes them a lot tougher to deal with, you know, not being like targetable when they're summoned and things like that. So yeah, Ancient Gears should be really good, and the best part about it is 3 copies of the structure deck and you've got the deck. And also the same thing goes for dinosaurs, which are kind of proving to be maybe the more competitive of the 2 decks. I know in the OCG people have been combining them with like True Kings and True Dracos, something like that. Yeah, but even just as standalone decks, I mean, like the dinosaur deck is really good. It can summon Lagia and Dolka. Both decks include like a Stratos, and you know, Fossil Dig's already been at 3, so the dinosaur deck and the Ancient Gear deck should both be really, really solid choices that are really budget. I mean, like I keep reiterating, 3 copies of the structure deck and you've got them all. So yeah, the next one's Flower Accordions. This one somehow didn't make it in that last like budget deck video I made, but I really should have put it on there. I mean, Flower Accordions are really cheap. They came out of that last Dragons of Legend set, and like even though they were all technically ultra rares and secret rares and stuff, they were really easy to get because Dragons of Legend cards tend not to cost very much. And we've already established in the past what Flower Accordions are, you know, kind of how they work. It's just getting lots of draws and eventually making their synchro monsters that really, really oppress your opponent. And the best part is that they've got cards like, you know, Flower Gathering and stuff that are honestly really, really powerful. what is it? I don't know if it's Flower Gathering or Recardination. One or the other. The one that can like get your cards back from the grave and banish itself to give you like a free mill and a spell card or something like that. Trail kind of knows more about Flower Guardians than I do. You can actually check out his deck profile. We did it a couple weeks back. So yeah, really cool deck, really cheap. Next one is Abyss Actors, one that I might have mentioned before, but is really good because Destiny Soldiers had Destiny Hero support, and Destiny Heroes aren't a deck I really care too much for. It's tough to make that deck work. And then it's got Dark Lords, which are a little bit expensive because Ixchel still costs like 20 or 30 bucks, which is unfortunate. But the pretty easy cards to get in there are the Abyss Actors, which is a pretty good Pendulum deck, and if you know anything about Link monsters, you'll know, enjoy your Pendulum decks while you can. But Abyss Actors actually have some really powerful effects. They've got the monsters themselves that are all regular Pendulum monsters with some cool effects. And they've got the scripts, which are like their spell and traps. And those have the more powerful effects. If the scripts go to your grave, you get some really strong stuff like bouncing your opponent's entire field and, you know, recycling things, getting things from your extra deck. It's really crazy. It's fun. Alec built it, or well, kind of tried to build it. We were playing around with it, and then we haven't quite kept up with it. But it's also a really good one. And then there's Skull Servants, which somehow did not make my budget lists in the past couple of months, which is crazy because Skull Servants have been, you know, kind of known throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history as a very cheap deck, filled with mostly common cards, and they always get new support every few sets. You know, like most recently there was White Princess, but you know, like even before then, Skull Servants are really good, and every new white card, just the white support archetype, just gives Skull Servants even more protection. They all count as Skull Servant in the graveyard, and you know, we're getting more and more to the point where they're negating stuff and stopping it from being targeted and just all these crazy things. And you can still use all the regular zombie support, Unizombie, Mizuki, Zombie Master, Book of Life. The things you'd expect that work in zombies work really well in Skull Servants, but you don't have to necessarily drop the money to play something like Shiranui that would require Psyframe Lord Omega. You can just use a Skull Servant deck where your boss monster gets to like 12k plus attack, and you don't necessarily have to use your extra deck. Anyways, the next one is Crystron. It's a deck that I built, and I highly recommend playing it. I've been playing around with it. You can see my very early rough deck profile that I uploaded a while back. It's actually a really fun deck, and you know, it's one of those ones where if you're into the whole idea of like turbo synchroing, or what's it called? Excel synchroing? Whatever it's called where you synchro your opponent's turn. There's something they call it in 5Ds. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, Crystrons are basically all about that mechanic. They can synchro in their opponent's turn, and even some of their synchro monsters are also tuners, which let you synchro with them in your opponent's turn as well. And it's a very floaty deck. I like it. It kind of feels like playing a mix of Phantom Knights and I guess whatever Formula Synchron deck. So yeah, it's really fun, and it's not a terribly expensive deck. I mean, like, yeah, I don't think there's too much in that deck that really costs a whole lot, so it shouldn't be a tough one to get. And next is Fluffles, which, you know, Fusion Enforcers should tell you all you need to know about this. Fluffles are basically like flying out the wazoo in that set. If you buy any of them, you're pretty much guaranteed to get, you know, anything you need. And they actually have new cards like Fluffle Penguin and Octopus, which are actually like really decent ones. Especially Penguin. Penguin's the one that lets you get a free draw. Is that what it does? It gets you an extra normal summon, and then I think it gets you a draw, if I'm correct. And it opens the opportunity to use Bahamut Shark in the deck, which leads to totally awesome. We all know how good that is. No need to really go into more detail there. And then the last deck on the list is the one that I tend to kind of drag through the mud a little bit in the videos, but Loki is actually not an awful deck. It's Xenobirds, the cool ritual spirit hybrid that is kind of, I could never make it work, but you know, apparently Trail built a deck of it, and he kind of could. So yeah, it's a spirit deck, and it actually is not all that bad. I give it a lot of flack, but the truth is, it's actually pretty easy to summon the ritual monsters, and they have really strong effects. They can just like bounce everything, and one of them returns all the spells and traps your opponent has to the deck, and the other one bounces all their monsters. Or like up to 3 monsters, but that's usually all. Yeah, and the best part about it is they all come in Raging Tempest, and they're all like commons and rares. So we have so many spare like Xenobird cards from opening all the boxes of Raging Tempest that we did. Yeah, it's a very easy deck to build. It's actually a lot of fun. Anyways, that concludes the 10 budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks for April 2016-17. I'm dumb. yeah, hope you guys like this. Hope it gave you some ideas. Remember that you can just look up any of these cards and what they do on Google, on YuGiOh. I can edit them in because, as I said before, I'm still working on getting some equipment and supplies and settings finalized, so I just decided to do this with the webcam. Anyway, leave me any more suggestions in the comments, and be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter, subscribe for more YuGiOh, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Later.